I'm aware that some of you might be questioning your value and doubting whether you have earned enough, achieved enough, and developed the right contacts that would be of interest to others who you deem more successful. So, because I have also faced the same fears and doubt in my own abilities and in my own portfolio of successes, I'd like to offer you some guidance if you'll allow me to. But first, I'd like you to look at the photograph now appearing on your screen. It's a vase of roses, or a vase, depending on where in the country you're from. I'd like you to study the image to see if you can identify which of the roses that you see is more valuable than the others. Have you found it? Now, before I reveal the answer, I want to talk to you about the feelings that you're currently having about your own value, or what we like to call your own self-worth. If you're like most people, you determine self-worth by your physical appearance, your net worth, your social circle, what you do, and your achievements. But I'm going to suggest to you that these are the wrong metrics, because the way you measure these things is only by comparison to others. I know what it's like to have no self-worth. As a kid, I grew up being called good for nothing, and this was on a good day. What happened is that the more I was referred to as a good for nothing, the more of that I became. It's funny how words can really determine the trajectory of one's life. Words such as, you're useless, you're worthless, you're fat, you're ugly. Why were you even born? By the time that I made it to age 17, I had attempted several times to take my own life. And ultimately, I did end up taking my life away from the influence of my parents and the other adults who, as I determined later, were incapable of handling their own emotions and their own frustrations, such that they always took it out on me. So how did I take my life? I took my life by joining the United States Marine Corps. And over a 13-week period, my life was completely transformed from a good for nothing to pretty darn good at a whole bunch of things. I graduated honor man of my platoon, and I received the coveted Marine dress blue uniform. On graduation, I also was given the rank of private first class. But let me take you back to the good for nothing kid for a moment. It happens that while my existence was an obvious disappointment to my parents, there was one thing I could do which I did better than anybody, and that was to sing. I was given the gift of a wonderful voice and musical ability, and as a child, it was my outlet for self-expression. I would often spend, I remember, hours upon hours alone in my room listening to records, most of them Motown R&B, Michael Jackson, I remember the Osmonds, the Temptations, all those guys. At an early age, I was involved in the church choir and selected to perform solos over much older and more experienced kids. And you know what happened when I sang? You know what I found? People clapped. My parents clapped. Strangers clapped. I received praise, admiration, and recognition. I received love. And so my young mind put two and two together, and I concluded that the way I get approval in this world is to sing. The way to get love from others is to sing. And so I did. Through the beatings and the torment and the rejection, I sang. While in the Marine Corps, I taught myself to play guitar, and I began performing in local bars in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. I got love. And as my popularity grew, I would sing at parties for my Marine friends. I would sing at festivals in the community of Waikiki, and I even got to sing on the Dan Ho show. I got love. And so the more I got love from the audience, from anybody that would listen, the more I wanted the stage. I wanted so badly to be on stage. So I set my sights on becoming the modern day Julio Iglesias. And after I got out of the Marine Corps, I moved to Los Angeles, California, to pursue my own fame and fortune. Now, believe me, I studied everything about the industry. I read all the books, I went on auditions, I performed at showcases, I recorded demos and I shipped them off to record labels only to get rejection after rejection after rejection. For years, I pursued my dream to sing on international stages in front of millions of adoring fans who would love me. Along the way, I was encouraged to study law and to become an entertainment lawyer. Because at the time, and probably still the case, lawyers ruled the music industry. I remember saying, aha, I can pursue my career and wear Armani suits at the same time? I'm certain to get love now. So I worked during the day, went to law school at night, and I passed the California bar exam the first time out. I was on a mission. I got a job at a small law firm in Santa Monica, California, and I began to practice in the area of music and television and film. It was then that I found out, wait, there's this thing called ethics, such that if I went to Sony Records together with your demo, let's say that you were a singer, and I went to Sony Records on your behalf and they didn't like you, I couldn't whip out my own demo and say, well then give me a shot. I couldn't do that. So as the years went by and I became a music industry insider, you know, I got the meetings, I produced my own concerts, I led my own band, I formed my own record label, and my first CD was considered for a Grammy. Yet, through it all, I found myself more and more disillusioned with my own dream. I witnessed the abuse of my clients and of my musical colleagues. I became a witness to the overwhelming corruption, the wickedness, and the perversion that exists in an industry that I'd fought so hard to be a part of. And one day I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I want out. I didn't sign up for this. I signed up for love. And realizing that it was love that I was after, I concluded there has to be a better way. There's got to be another way that I can get love. And so I left LA, I moved to Dallas, and I became a commercial photographer. They get love. And then 2008 happened. Amid an economic downturn which impacted me severely, I attended a success conference in Las Vegas. I had no money. My best friend had paid my way to attend, I remember. I was so broke that during the day of the conference, I'd go over to a food display in the lobby that was intended for people attending a complete other conference, and I mingled about with them just so I could get myself a small plate of food. But that's not the whole story. Back in my own session later that day, the speaker, David Nagel, projected a slide on the screen revealing Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which I'm going to project it for you right now on this screen. And the speaker explained that these are the basic things that humans need. You can see love, esteem, safety, among others. And then he said, guess what? If you need these things means you don't have them. So if you don't have love, how can you give love to others? And in a fraction of a millisecond, it hit me. My whole life flashed before my eyes, and I raised my hand, I stood up and I said, are you effing kidding me? All my life, I've been doing things to get love, and here you are telling me that I must first love myself before I can love someone else? And he said, yes. I remember, guys, I was in tears. I was angry and delighted at the same time because I had finally experienced a breakthrough in an area which had haunted me and tormented me for years, seeking love and the approval of others. Well, two breakthroughs happened because it's the same conference where I met my wonderful, wonderful wife, Alethea. Okay, let's get back to the flowers for a moment. I had asked you to identify which rose is more valuable than the others. Here's the image again. You'll notice some are taller, some are fuller, some are even more vibrant, Some are more open, some look fresher, some stand straighter, some have more foliage, and some have more thorns. You see that? But which one of them is more valuable? In order to determine which rose is more valuable, we have to carefully compare one against the other. And I submit to you that regardless of your process, it's an impossible task to conclude which of these roses is of greater value. When we consider that each of these flowers began from a mere seed buried under what to the seed is a mountain of earth, where it lived in the darkness, waiting for water and nutrients, fighting off organisms and disease. And then when the seed broke through the soil, it had to continue its fight for air and sunshine and to avoid harm from insects and animals and humans with big feet and lawnmowers. This rose faced and overcame so many challenges so that one day it could bloom and say to the world, "Here I am, look at me." Sure, you might choose one of these roses over another for myriad reasons, but your choice would not diminish the value, the beauty, or the splendor of the other roses. It's simply your choice. And so, like the roses in the photo, each of you is wonderful and remarkable in your own right. The many struggles, challenges, abuses, prejudices, and obstacles that you have overcome to be here today, that alone is more than enough to confirm that you matter, that you are valuable, that you are worthy. So let's not compare bank accounts with anyone else. Let's not compare degrees. Don't compare results. Don't compare a thing with anyone else, because I guarantee you that if I took the time to interview each and every single one of you, I would find greatness in you. I would find greatness that Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, and Elon Musk couldn't even begin to compare. And that's the truth. Your self-worth is not determined by the value that others may place on you. Your self-worth is not the value that you perceive others might have in you. Your self-worth is only the value that you give to yourself. You are the only one who determines your self-worth. You are worthy and valuable. Believe it or not.